Main bedroom motion detector.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Giving all praise and glory to the Most High Power, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He was to be praised for everything. Let me get more life. Just a moment. Then there was light, more light. See, there's a lot going on in the world today, and everybody's covering it as far as the wars are concerned. So I want to deal with us being ready, at least, knowing that it's going down, seeing it's going down. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to be ready? I mean, you know what's happening. You see what's happening. But I don't think people realize how serious it is as far as this war reaching the shores of America. And it's inevitable. I mean, because it's written in the scriptures. Every kingdom had a certain dispensation of time to rule. And America can't rule forever, be the superpower forever. That's why it's very important for us to have ourselves together spiritually with the Most High, while MASHAYACH, by SHAM MASHAYACH. And welcome everyone to Water for the Blessing. Blessings to you too. And that's why it's very important for us to have a relationship, a sincere relationship with the Most High, because He's the only one that's going to really set righteousness on this earth. I don't think people realize, like the seriousness of our relationship with Him, and even bringing Him into our world, conversations, just a conversation, not, looking at, what you might know concerning even opening up the Bible to show Him to someone, but just how hard is it to put Him in your conversation? Listening is honor and responsibility. And when you look at, it's much, at least for myself, you can go on my YouTube page and you can see many lessons that I just dealt with, just talking about Him. Most High, Most High, Most High. I know that's one for sure. But, I don't know all of them because I have almost 7,000 videos. So I don't know all the names of them. I was asking, people to help me to be able to, scribe, but they took, that off, period. So you can't really, do that because they don't want you to be able to come out back to the Most High. That's the whole thing. That's a problem. You can talk about anything you want to talk about, but coming back to the Most High, that is a problem. Power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they don't want you doing that. Because that's going to bring us back to Him. And once we come back to Him, He's going to say, okay, y'all ready for the kingdom. It's already prepared for us. It's just a matter of where we at. We looking at Israel ain't going to save us. Knowing I'm an Israelite, okay, I knew I was an Israelite. Now I'm looking for MASHAYACH. And I have everything for 30-something years ago, whatever, 30, whatever you want to, anybody want to challenge me, I have it. You see behind me? That's the best we could do in TV shows. I got from the elders on down to generals, you name it. I have the information from a long time ago to research. I got cassette tapes. That's how, way before they had DVDs and CDs, I had cassettes of just recordings of classes from New York all the way across the country, everywhere. You know what I mean? So I have the information. It's just a matter of, and I looked and I was like, wow, I don't see too much of MASHAYACH Yahawashi. Initially, we was dealing with the Most High. You know, who's the power? Anybody ever know? We said Yahweh's the power. We knew all that, but we didn't really get in depth of a MASHAYACH Yahawashi. And then it went to a MASHAYACH Yahawashi when I brought out Hamashiach, which they came against me when I did that as a new doctrine or heresy or whatever. And the people saying it now because it's very important to understand Hamashiach. So we started going into a MASHAYACH Yahawashi. Then now I look at where the Most High at. I mean, it's like almost like Israel, 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 but where is he at? And when you look at this, how are we gonna get out of here if the person that the man, I might say the main man that's gonna get us out of here is not being exalted? He's not being talked about. It's almost like, you know, they call him Mother Nature, El Nino. Y'all hear me say that, I'm repeating myself, but it's that serious, you know, because maybe you'll tap into it. You'll tap into it attributes of the Most High to water. Maybe that's another one. You know what I mean? Like Most High power, attributes of the Most High power. Yeah. So if you tap into Him, where you are really about him, and not just something that you just regurgitate because I'm saying it and acting like I'm a preacher, like people do go to church and they regurgitate what people say, but really, really understand the importance of it. And we could be ready. We could be ready to get out of here because it's there. It's just a matter of who really he gonna say. Who really of us? Which one of us? You know, I can't even say I'm worthy to be saved. I don't put myself one of the number. Because you don't know what's going to happen between today and tomorrow for where I've been in this truth and seeing how many people that come in and not in it. You don't know. I mean, that's why it's very important to stay in this word and stay focused every day on being in the truth. Otherwise, man, we're going to be, you know, going through the same cycle. You know, y'all ain't been through the cycles I've been through. Looking at, you know, and just being in the truth every day to see where we at and where we have come to. You know, and it's very important. And I challenge anybody on that. Ain't nobody more important than the Most High. Straight up. Look, first, look at this. Look, as always, Colossians 3:17, whatsoever you do, a word or deed, do all by Shabbat Mashiach Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Shabbat Mashiach Yahawashi. So, oh, man, look, Matthew 22. Everything we say is going to be in the name of Lord and Savior, MASHAYACH Yahawashi, my big brother. And we thank the Most High for everything, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So a lot of people don't identify him as such. I noticed that, you know, it's very important, you know, because I look at the scripture for solutions. And let's look at, I'm just, you know, I just opened up the Bible. I didn't really go here, but it's here in my face. I have to bring it out whenever I, you know, open up the Bible and it's like, bam, I'm talking about something that's in your face. What can I say? I all praise to the Most High, but I talk about him and I exalt him, and this is, you know, what I see, and I give him glory. The glory to him, not me. I don't have no glory at all, you know. But look what I turned the Bible. This is what I'm talking about him, right? Look what I see. Matthew 22:31. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, this is MASHAYACH Yahawashi speaking. Have you not read that which was spoken unto you by the Most High, saying, I am the power of Abraham, and the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob? The Most High is not the power of the dead, but of the living. You see? But you see his name? That's his name. That's why, and the MASHAYACH identifying the Most High as his name, as I am the power. You know, I don't use that word God, God, because that's dog spelled backwards. And that's a European word that they created that, you know, they put in the Bible. Everybody say it because it's in the Bible, but that don't mean that it's right. You know, certain things they put in the Bible to have you, you still, if that's them, and we call them dogs, you spell it backwards, what's the difference? Different than you saying Santa Claus, they move the letters over. I'm talking about the elite. I'm not talking about those that's on the level of don't know and gross darkness. I might say gross ignorance. I'm talking about the higher elite. They play with words. They play with letters and moving around this way. Like Santa Claus is Satan Claus. You know what I mean? A lot of different things has changed up. You don't really understand it because unless you really look at all these things and compare them and see that this is what they've done. We call them dogs, so they took dog and spelled it backwards and came up with God. Look it up. It's a new word. It's not no ancient word. Like LORD is BAAL. The AMEN. Most people say, what's ZEUS last name? Most people don't know. Only the Spirit of the Most High revealed this to me. About SHAM, YAHAWASHI, my big brother, YAHAWASHI, in his last days, because we got to learn how to stop offending him. Or you tell the Most High, it don't offend him to call him by these names that the ones that's against him, the enemies and the haters of the Most High come up with, and you doing exactly what they would have you to do. And who published the Bibles? Who makes the monies off the Bibles, if I might ask? Which one of your family members reaping all the benefits from selling this Bible? Talk to me. Because see, we not really analytical thinkers enough. And this is what has happened. So I just say the power instead of God, because when you say that, you could be calling on this. How about that? You calling on this. You ever thought about that? No, you ain't thought about it because you're not an analytical thinker. But if you're an analytical thinker, you realize, hey, definitely said that. It says the Mashiach that was size in red. It's his words, right? So when you're saying that, is that who you're talking about? That's your Jesus? I'll say on Mashiach Yahushua, it said, look what he said, I am the power. This is Matthew 22:32. I am the power of Abraham. And I got to bring it out because this is where, this is where the Bible opened to. I am the power of, I was talking about him, right? It is. I am the power of Abraham and the power of Isaac and the power of Jacob. The Most High is not the power of the dead, but of the living. And we the living. So he's not the power of the dead, And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. Like people will be astonished at my doctrine or the Israelites' doctrine. You see what I'm saying? Because he went all the way, he cut them, because in their mind, look, he went all the way back to the law. And these are the things that, okay, you ask the pork chop eating preachers, well, where did you get that? He's the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What do you mean? Where's that at? Because he said, look, what he said. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read? So where you got to read it from, preacher? Where you going to read this from? Talk to me. Somebody have to be able to break this down. Because where you going to read it from? Have you not read? So where you going to read it from? Paul's writings? Think about it. That's why I say, when you look at how we have been programmed, we've been programmed to believe lies. We've been programmed not to think. I'm here to make you think. I'm here to make you analyze. Now, see, they'd be the first one to analyze what I'm saying. Dismiss this. Have you not read? Where are you going to read the fact that the Most High said he is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Where did it come from? Because he's on the earth. We got to go on the earth at the time that he's speaking right here. Have you not read that which was spoken to you by the Most High? By the Most High saying? So where did the Most High speak this? So is it Mashiach Yahushua speaking? When he said, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by the Most High saying? So, because people will say that's him. That's a Mashiach Yahushua. But what is he quoting from? He's quoting from Exodus, the 3rd chapter. First, the 6th verse. Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. But it's not the Most High. Because look, it's not the Most High. I would have said God, right? But it's not the Most High. St. John 1 and 18. St. John 1 18. Look, it says, no man has seen the Most High at any time. Now you make this be a MASHAYACH, YAHAWASHI, and say, no man has seen the Most High at any time. The only begotten Son, y'all know about that, right? John 3:16, for the Most High so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. That's what MASHAYACH, YAHAWASHI. Whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So it says, hey, no man has seen the Most High at any time. The only begotten Son, who is MASHAYACH, YAHAWASHI, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. So he's declared him in Exodus 3rd chapter. You know, as an angel of the Most High, speaking for the Most High. I'm telling y'all, spirits or angels speak for the Most High. Always deal with us. Just say, no man ever seen the Most High. How you gonna reach? How flesh and blood gonna approach the Most High? Say, he's too bright. He's too illuminated. He said, look, let me just give you an idea. I mean, I'm kind of like going off, but it's not off because we're still looking at him. Look, it's something, man. You know, when you look at how, look what it says. Look, go to Acts 7 and 48. Acts 7 and 48. It says, howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as said the prophet. Right? Heaven is my throne. Hear this? Heaven is my throne. Heaven. We look up in the sky. When you in China, you look at the sky and you're in America. You look at the sky, you're in England. You look at the sky, you're in Russia. You look at the sky, you're in North, South Korea. You in Vietnam. You know what he said? He said, heaven is my throne, right? And earth is my footstool. He really said, heaven is his throne and earth is his footstool. Come on. You have to make this make sense. How you gonna see him? He said, heaven is his throne and earth is my footstool. A footstool, you put your heel on a footstool. He said, what house will ye build me, said the Most High, or what is the place of my rest? Hath not my hand made all these things? Look, it tell you in 2nd Ezra, and we going back to power, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, very certainly. But it tell you in 2nd Ezra, 8 and 21, 2nd Ezra 8, it says, remember it said, heaven is my throne, right? Listen at this. It said, whose throne, throne is what you sit on, is inestimable. You can't measure the sky. You can't measure from the whole, he said, heaven is my throne. It said, whose throne is inestimable, cannot be measured, whose glory may not be comprehended, before whom the hosts of angels stand with trembling. You see? So how are you going to look at the Most High? Nobody's seen the Most High. Like I say, nobody's seen the Most High. Going back to Exodus 3 and 6. You know, that power that was illuminating from the angel of the Most High was too much. I mean, understand this word. Like I told y'all, God, God, was created by the Europeans. It's a Germanic word that they created. And When you see here in Exodus 3 and 6, it said, moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. Just like MASHAYACH said, have you not read? We're reading where it's said. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the power. I'll say that because it's not the Most High. He ain't seeing the Most High. We just read, ain't nobody ever seen the Most High. And his throne is inestimable, cannot be measured, right? So verse 15, it says, and the Most High, through the angel of the Most High that's speaking to Moses, said, and that's spiritual too. Because you see God, you see that word Jah there, you say, oh, that's the Most High. No, it is the Most High, but the angel is speaking for the Most High. Let me show you. Psalms 104 and 4. Give you examples. I have lessons on the angels or the spirits that you can look at, you know, to be able to see how the Most High, how the angels speak to us. Psalms 104 and 4. Who maketh his angels spirits. You see? This is Most High. Who maketh his angels spirits. So it might say spirits, it might say angels. Or it might say angel, or it might say spirit, right? So he maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. So a minister does what? Bring the word of the Most High. And that fire is defined in Jeremiah 23:29. Jeremiah 23:29. Is not my word like as a fire? See, the angels are bringing the word of the Most High. Said the Most High, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces. You see? So when you look at Exodus 3:15, it's saying the Most High through the angel that's speaking to Moses. So let me show you. In verse 2, it says, and the angel of the Most High appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. Right? So this fire is what? Symbolically what? The word. We just read that in Jeremiah 23:29. But it's symbolic. You know, it's like you have to understand, you know, we're not capable of approaching the Most High. His throne is inestimable. You know, look, I'm gonna get there, but look at Daniel. Daniel, you know, had a vision of the Most High throne. Daniel 7 and 9. Look, I beheld to the thrones, that's powers and authority, were cast down on this earth. And the Ancient of Days, that's the Most High. Ain't nobody older than him. Did sit, whose garment was white as snow. So the Most High, look, this is a vision. So you understand, verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed, right? Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters, right? So that's what you're seeing here, because the Most High speak to dreams and visions. So here it is where this is called theophany, where it's something that the Most High will bring forth in a vision or a dream, but it's because the Most High is a spirit. Listen, let me show you so you understand, because a lot of people say Most High got a garment on. Most High is a man like a regular man in flesh and have a garment on. No. That's why I say it's a dream. It's if he would, you know, appear in the flesh, then that's what you see. Because you go to Colossians, the first chapter, we can look at the 14th verse. It says, in whom we have the redemption, Colossians, the first chapter, 14, in whom we have redemption through his blood, talking about the MASHAYACH, even the forgiveness of sins, right? For the children of Israel, 12 tribes of Israel. Who is the image? Who is the image of the what? Fleshly God? Invisible power. Invisible. Invisible means you can't see it. See that? He's an image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature. Okay? Most High is invisible. That's why you ain't looking at Most High. That's why when you said you look at That's what it's called theophany. You can look it up. And like it tells you in Job 33:14, while Daniel's having this dream and visions on his bed, Job 33:14. For the Most High speaking once, yea, twice, yet man perceive it not. He's trying to tell you something once, twice, you ain't paying no attention. In a dream, here it is, in a dream and a vision of the night. As Daniel was having a dream and vision in the night. When deep sleep falleth upon men and slumbers upon the bed, then he opened up the ears of men and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose, whatever you want to do, and hide pride from man. You're gonna do just what he wants you to do. So this is what's going on with Daniel. You know, the Most High allowing him to see him, you know, as a man with a garment on. So now that's called theophany. Daniel 7:9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. Powers from the throne of this earth gonna be cast down. And the Ancient of Days did sit. That's the Most High, whose garment was white as snow. Okay? And the hair of his head like the pure wool. So he got woolly hair. He got pure nappy hair. The hair of his head like the pure wool. If he would appear, you know, where you could actually see him in the flesh, remember he's an invisible power, but he letting you know his image as a man would be, he would have pure woolly hair, pure nappy hair. His throne was like the fiery flame. See? Fiery flame. Fire. And his wheels, that's burning fire. Look, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Fire everywhere. Thousands ministered to him. That's the angels. And 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were open. The judgment was set that MASHAYACH going to judge this world, everyone in this world. The book's going to be open, and that's what it's going to be, the judgment coming from, what we done in these mortal bodies. So now, I digress. Go back to Exodus 3:15. Because you see, that's what we open up. That's what I was talking about. So that's what I had to go to. I have to follow the spirit, because sometimes I'll be, teaching and I turn the page to be right there. I got to give all praise to the Most High. About some of y'all might not understand that, but when you have done it as long as I've done it and consistently in it, and you exalt the Most High, you're gonna receive blessings and you're gonna receive miracles that's gonna happen by some of MASHAYACH from him. You gotta give him the glory though. And the Most High, this is Exodus 3:15, and the Most High through the angel that's speaking to Moses said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Most High power of your fathers, just like we read earlier, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob have sent me unto you. This is my name forever. So that's why you hear me say he's the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob is the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, and I named the 12 tribes, which you should be able to know your 12 tribes: Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. You should know the 12 tribes. If you're an Israelite, you should be naming these tribes, because if you're not of the tribes, then how the Most High, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob says, this is my name forever, this is memorial to all generations, and you don't even know your power, who he say he is. Or people say they talk about the Most High, but he's telling you here, he's only the power of Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, who had a son named Jacob. Abraham had Ishmael. He didn't choose Ishmael. Isaac had Esau, but he didn't choose Esau. He chose Jacob. He chose Isaac, but he chose Jacob. Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. That's what we say his name is forever, memorial to all generations. You can't get by that. And then if you believe in the MASHAYACH, would you better? If you call yourself believing in the Most High, what did he say? Same thing. I mean, it ain't changed. This is why I opened the Bible up. I was right. That's why I gotta I gotta bring it out. So I didn't intentionally go here, but it's right in my face. I'm talking about them, then here it is. MASHAYACH bringing it. Hey, he said, hey, look, this is who I am. What can I say? I mean, all praise to the Most High. You know, you got a problem with it, then you don't need to be around here. You know, let the Most High deal with whoever you dealing with. I'm dealing with the Most High power. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, straight up. Here he is right here. Matthew 22:31. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by the Most High, saying, what did he say? I am the power of Abraham. We just read it. And the power of Isaac and the power of Jacob. Most High is not the power of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. Like some people probably astonished at my doctrine. I'm going to keep saying it. That's what he called him. That's what he named him. Did he say that's his name forever, memorial to all generations? So we are memorial to this generation. But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, the Sadducees were different than the Pharisees. The Sadducees were called themselves religious leaders. The Pharisees was like religious leaders, but dealing with politics. They dealing with Romans, you know what I mean? They're into politics. It's like you see some of these preachers, they all into whatever the government is doing, you know. I mean, they right there with them, you know. That's why whenever they run for president, what do? They go up in these black churches and they be walking around like they all that because they got whoever's running in their church, you know. They cooked into the politics. That's the Pharisees, you know, and the scribes. But the Sadducees, they were just mainly religious, you know, dealing with like the preachers just not dealing with uh, the government and so forth. A difference. So, and then Sadducees didn't believe in the resurrection either. You know, that's one thing. They didn't believe in the resurrection. Pharisees did, but the Sadducees didn't. But when the Pharisees had heard, verse 34, that he had put the Sadducees in silence, they were gathered together. So it was always plotting on him, MASHAYACH. You know, then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him. Who the tempter? The devil. See? And saying, you know, they put that in there. They put that in there. I'm not saying that because that represents BAAL too. So do I have to say it because it's there? No. See right here? BAAL. It means LORD. It means MASTER. It also means HUSBAND. You see? So it's very important that we see this because just like they took scriptures out, maybe I'll do that. I'll go through these scriptures they took out. Maybe that'll hit home to some of you to think that if they took scriptures out, would you think they won't put scriptures in? They took scriptures out of the Bible. I seen someone, you know, they had tears in their eyes. It was like, you know, they've been reading the NIV all their life, and they say, look, they took this out. They took this out. How to heal yourself and fasting and praying. And they was real hurt about it, you know. But you know, we heard a lot when I go through all the scriptures they have taken out. So if they took out scriptures, would you think they won't put things in? I don't understand you know, but we'll say ain't no enchantment to Israel. Quick, fast, and hurry. But why is it, if there's no enchantment to Israel, why is it that you can't see certain things? It's almost like blinders over your eyes. You got to wake up, man. Because they put the people in gross darkness. You see here? Tempting. What you do with the tempter? The tempter, the devil. They run with the devil. Against the MASHAYACH. Verse 36, ruler, I say ruler, which is the great commandment in the law. MASHAYACH said to them, thou shalt love the Most High, thy power, with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. So who is he talking? Who is that thy power? You know, because you're looking at everybody's saying that the Most High is everybody's power. And he just identified him in verse 32 as the power of Abraham, power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. He didn't identify him as the power of Ishmael, Abraham, Ishmael, and Ishmael descendants, or Abraham, Isaac, and Esau descendants. Did he? No, he's specific. He said he's the power of Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, who had a son named Jacob. When he say thy power, that's your power, because they have to be Israelites, or he would be saying your power. Understand this, man. Look, Acts 2:21 and 22. So we gotta be ready at least, if war come, at least a lot. Because the scripture be taken away, then you gotta be able to operate without it. Because they have done it already. Don't think they won't. You better know it as much as you can. Acts 2:21 and 22, it says, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of MASHAYACH shall be saved, right? Who's he talking to? He said, ye men of Israel, hear these words. This ain't talking to everyone. MASHAYACH of Nazareth, a man approved of the Most High, where among you. Who's that you? Ye men of Israel. So the Pharisees, the scribes, the Sadducees are Israelites. Hear what it says? Ye men of Israel, Acts 2:21, 22. Hear these words. MASHAYACH of Nazareth, a man approved of the Most High among you. That you is the men of Israel, by miracles and wonders and signs, which the Most High did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. So he was in the midst of the Israelites. Who was that midst of you? Ye men of Israel. Straight up. So these are Israelites. That's why it said, remember they tempted him. It said in Matthew 22:36, ruler, which is the great commandment in the law. MASHAYACH said it to him. Let me see if I can get my I don't know what's up with. I'm on to okay, there it go. Okay, it's working now. Matthew 22:36, a ruler, which is the great commandment in the law. MASHAYACH said to him, thou shalt love the Most High, thy power, thy is your power, with all thine heart, with all your heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, right? And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, right? On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Why is that? Because the laws are about how we love the Most High by doing what he say do that pertains to him. You got moral laws, you have civil laws, you have dietary laws, you have ceremonial and sacrificial laws, which pertain to him. Ceremonial laws, that's his laws, and the sacrificial law, which was his laws. Now we have mercy and grace, the Israelites do, through a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI coming and dying for our sins. You see? Well, some people can't deal with that, but what are they doing for the atonement of their sins? Are they really into this? Are they really into the Most High's commandments? Do they really love the Most High? You know? Can they go back and forth from the old to the new? Because there's no New Testament. There's only the law and the prophets. So you got to be able to go like he just said. Have you not read? Where are you going to read it at? It has been said. Where it was said at? When he walked the earth in the flesh, it was said in the Old Testament. It is written. Where's it written at? In the Old Testament. But if you don't really think of that as such, then you're not going to really understand spiritually him or the Most High at all. Because you ain't going to find him. Because you ain't going to seek him out. If you're just looking at what you're going to read here or whatever, you waiting on somebody to just teach you what you need to know to make it to the kingdom, but you go to church, you ain't never going to make it there. I can show you that. Listen. So now, he said, on these two commandments, love the Most High with all thy heart, and with all thy soul and with all thy mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself. He said, on these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets, because we got to learn how to love each other. He spent so much time in showing us how to love each other, because we've been programmed, especially in this after this captivity, or at least being so-called somewhat released from captivity, them chains and shackles. We don't love each other. Them curses fit us to the T. Everybody else, they all together. Us as an Israelite, we the Israel, man. You better read them curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68. You tell me it fit anybody else. It don't fit no one else but us. That's all. We the only people that fit. So it's very important. Look, Deuteronomy 6 and 4. This is the beginning of all the commandments. Deuteronomy 6 and 4. This is the first of all the commandments. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Most High, our power is one power." That's the first of all the commandments. This is the first commandment. There's a difference between the first of all the commandments and the first commandment. They didn't ask you what's the first of all the commandments. They asked you what's the first commandment. There's a difference. The first of all the commandments is Deuteronomy 6 and 4. "Hear, O Israel, the Most High, our power is one power," right? "And thou shalt love the Most High thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might." With your mind, just like he just quoted, right? Where did he get it from? Right here. It's right there, right? And then the next commandment is Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19. We can read 1 and 2 and verse 17, 18. "And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I, the Most High, your power, am holy." And we know, class, what holy is from the definition in the New Testament, Romans the 7th chapter, the 12th verse. The law is holy, the commandment holy, and just and good. So now, that's how you be holy, keeping the commandments of the Most High. Now, verse 17, Leviticus 19 and 17. "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him," right? "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people," who is talking about the children of Israel. "But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Most High." You see? That's where he's quoting from. So how are you going to be calling yourself a minister, a preacher, or whatever, and he's quoting these things and you don't even know what he's quoting from? Because you can't say that you're going to he quoting from the law, because you're teaching people we're not under the law. But that's just where I went. That's where I just went. And that's where we've been going, from what's said in the New Testament to the Old Testament in the law. That's why here you are right here. Sad to say, but it's real. Make it mean something different. Since you say we not under the law, like the Most High wrote with his finger, it's you right here. And you talking about we got war, and y'all think y'all gonna be saved from the destruction that's coming? It's you. Matthew 5:19. "Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments," which is the laws of the Most High, "and shall teach men so," because y'all big on, we ain't under the law, we're under grace. We ain't under the law, we're under grace. And you have people regurgitating that. Don't even know, show me that in the Bible. Show me that the grace is for the Gentiles. Show me that mercy is for the Gentiles, since that's who you claim to be. And you have people thinking that's who they are, and not an Israelite. That's why I say you don't know what this Bible is talking about. "But whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so," like you're doing, like they do, "he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." So all you that's following that, would you say you're going to be called the greatest in the kingdom? I don't think so. You can be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. "But whosoever shall do and teach them," what you think that them is? "The laws and the commandments. The same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." You see, this is what he said. "But for I said to you," just a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI telling us, he said, "For except your righteousness See, that's very important that we have these words in definition and defining them. It says, except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees who we just seen he was talking to, tempting him, rolling with who? The devil. The tempter, the devil got the devil in him, trying to tempt him. What's the first commandment? You know, he said, for I say unto you, verse 20 of Matthew, the 5th chapter, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. So when you see people come up against us, like we represent them, at least I do, I'll come out by SHAM, MASHAYACH, representing them, MASHAYACH. When you see people come against us, just like they did the Pharisees, say their righteousness. What's righteousness, y'all? First and foremost, he said 2 times in this one verse, verse 20, I say to you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. So you know what I looked at? I said, well, I gotta look into the scribes and the Pharisees and see how they was rolling. You just say tempting them, MASHAYACH. And that's why I see that people do with us. They don't tempt these pork chop eating preachers, but they tempt us, bringing forth this unadulterated truth. They always got something to say to us, you know, because it's contrary to that little weakness. That's why I say you're gonna be the least in the kingdom of heaven if you don't repent and come back to the real truth of what we're teaching in these last days, or you're gonna be the least in the kingdom of heaven. You gotta understand, real for real. This is serious. What's righteousness? You see how important it is? Because you keep seeing that, you keep seeing these words that the Spirit, all praise to the Most High, have given you to look at, to define with the Bible. Therefore, when you see it, can't gainsay them. The definition of righteousness, except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you ain't gonna enter into the kingdom of heaven. It says, and it shall be our righteousness. Deuteronomy 6:25. The definition of righteousness. If we observe to do all these commandments before the Most High, our power, which He have commanded us. That's righteousness, to keep the commandments of the Most High. Right? So that's where we at. And if you're not, you're going to be the least in the kingdom of heaven. And you're not going to be saved. Get Luke 1:68. Luke 1:68. Luke, the 1st chapter, the 68th verse. Is very important. Because remember, the Most High said He's the power of who? Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, who had a son named Jacob, who became the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So when you look at Luke 1:68, it says, blessed be the Most High power of Israel. Hear that? He's not the Most High power of nobody else. Blessed be the Most High power of Israel. That's what it's saying. Blessed be the Most High power of Israel. For He hath visited and redeemed His people. You see that? Who's His people? Everybody? All you gotta do is call on the name of Jesus. That's now you His people? No. So many things that I could think of that we just been lied to. You know, it's sad, but it's real, man. I think let's define His people and the saints at the same time. Let's combine both of those together. I haven't done that. Let's do that. Psalms 148:14. Okay. We're going to define His people and who the saints are in the same verse. Psalms 148:14. He also exalted the horn, which is the power, like the bull's horn, the ram's horn of His people. You see? We're going to define His people and the saints in this one verse. The praise of all His saints. So who is His people and who are the saints? Even of the children of Israel. You see that? That's defining His people, the Most High's people, and the saints. He also exalted the horn, the power of His people, the praise of all His saints, even of the children of Israel. Well, we are people near to the Most High. Straight up. Praise ye the Most High. So there it is. So now you see Luke 168, blessed be the Most High power of Israel. You can't, you think he's going to say, blessed be the Most High power of every nation, every people, all people. Not all, because all means a certain number. So you see, you couldn't say, blessed be the Most High power of every nation. He could have said that. He said, blessed be the Most High power of Israel. For he have visited and redeemed his people. So if that wasn't good enough, we can go to Exodus 18:1. Because it might not be good enough for y'all, some of y'all. But where am I going? I'm going to the Old Testament, the law, to define his people. Look, Exodus 18:1. When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that the Most High had done for Moses and for Israel, his people, and for Israel, his people. That's why I say you can't just read the New Testament and not know the Old Testament. You can't just read the Old Testament and not know the New Testament. They go together because it's like certain words are defined in the New Testament, straight up, without a shadow of doubt. Sin, 1 John 3 and 4. Sin is the transgression of the Most High's law. It's clear today. That's why you got to look at the whole volume of the book to get these understanding. So it says, blessed be the Most High, back to Luke 168, blessed be the Most High power of Israel, for he have visited and redeemed his people, who are the Israelites, and have raised up an horn of powers, like we see the horn in Psalms 148:14. That power, power like the bull's horn, the ram horn, is hip talk of salvation. That's power and authority for us, who in the house of the servant David. MASHAYACH came from the tribe of King David, which is the tribe of Judah. Hebrews 7:14. For it's evidence of fact that our power, MASHAYACH, sprang out of Judah, our forefather Jacob's fourth born son. Okay? As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that had the spirit of a MASHAYACH in them, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. That's being saved, y'all. We got to be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant. That's with who? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, to the 12 tribes of Israel. The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us, we the children of Israel, that we being delivered out of the hand of our enemies. We got to be delivered out of the hand of our enemies in captivity. Prisoners of war might serve him without fear, in holiness, keeping his commandments and righteousness before him all the days of our lives. Now we define righteousness. Let's define holy. I quoted it. Let's look at it. Romans 7:12. You think it's important to keep the Most High's laws? Wherefore, the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good, that we may serve the Most High in holiness without fear, keeping the commandments and the laws without fear, and righteousness before him all the days of our life. Yes, that's real, y'all. I feel that. Don't you? I mean, in holiness and righteousness before him, before the Most High, all the days of our life, forever and ever and ever, eternally. Man, who could promise that? Nobody. That's why we got to have ourselves together in the right spirit to get ready for what it is that is promised to us. It's coming. It's knocking on the door. It's just a matter of who is it that's going to really be ready. So you ain't got to get ready. Shalom, welcome. And If you can, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be able to be notified whenever we have classes on the second day, the fourth day, and the Sabbath night. We be out on the streets on Sabbath day at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So let's look at some different things that we need to look at, because these trying times, we need to have ourselves together. We can look at the times all we want to. Everybody else going over the wars and all that. I covered a little bit of it, but I think we need to have ourselves together and get closer and closer to the Most High. Look at Matthew 7th chapter, and we're going to look at verse 15 to 20. It says, beware of false prophets. See that? It says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. And that's what, a lot of people have been caught up in, because they don't know anyone outside from whatever they see them and whatever they bring forth. But inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. You're going to know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Are you going to gather grapes of thorns? I don't think so. Them thorns going to hurt you. And figs of thistles? Nope. Say, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. Every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Because, I look at this very, very through the spirit, because brothers, a lot of young brothers coming in, and they just following traditions of something that was said and taught of old, as if Romans 11 and 26. I mean, do y'all realize it was more people that lived on this earth in the past than it is now? It's what it says, 7 or 8 billion people on the earth now. It was more people that lived in the past than that live here now. That live now. So I was, sharing with a brother earlier today. We're talking about how, how many people coming back are going to be delivered to be in the kingdom. Did we see that mercy we just read about? The kingdom that's already promised us and built already, is prepared. How many is coming back of the past? Some didn't even have to come back to this wicked world. And some came back just to bring forth the light of the Most High to those that's in gross darkness. You see? That's what we're looking at. And here we are. That's why it says, this is what they dealing with. So we got to remember this, say, in Romans 11:26, And I say this because I'm old school. I'm from the elders that taught everybody. I'm still, deal with the elders that taught everyone, I still can, communicate with them, and certain things were taught. So I know it was taught. I have the tapes, I have the notes, I have everything that was taught of old. All praise to the Most High, That's what was taught. And so all Israel shall be saved. So that means they think all means every last Israelite gonna be saved. That's where it's coming from. But every last Israelite not gonna be saved. All means a certain number. Look it up. I'm not talking about whatever they made it mean now, but initially it all meant a certain number. Look, we're going to tell you. And so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away unrighteousness from Jacob. Right? So when you look at Micah, the 7th chapter, the 18th verse, 18 and 19th verse. Micah, the 7th chapter, the 18th and 19th verse. And we can look at that. It says, who is a power like unto thee, O most high power, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that pardoneth iniquity, right? And passes by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage. You hear that? Passes by the remnant of his heritage. That's not every last one. That's remnant, the remnant. Hey, Shalom, welcome. The trade too. He would have said, who is of the most high? Who is a power like thee, unto thee, like unto thee, O most high, that pardoneth iniquity, and passes by the transgression of the remnant of his heritage. The remnant of his heritage. He retaineth not his anger forever, because he delighteth in mercy. And you know that mercy is to the Israelites. In Isaiah 14:1, he showeth his Most High will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Right? 19. He will turn again. He will have compassion upon us. He will subdue our iniquities, and thou wilt cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Right? So that's not talking about someone that don't care about the Most High. That's why MASHAYACH is laying it out. But you know, we have our own way of wanting everybody to be in there. Everybody's not gonna be in there, y'all. I'm telling you, look what he said. Matthew 7. And we know when these trying times, so we got to be ready ourselves. We got to get ourselves together. So you ain't got to get ready. You ready to the best of your ability. Matthew 7 and 16, it says, hey, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Or even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. Right? And we know what's good. Those that keep the commandments of the Most High, those that keep the laws of the Most High. But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. So if this corrupt tree, they ain't trying to do what the Most High would have us do in keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments, it said they're going to bring forth corrupt fruit. Listen to what he said. A good tree, which is a good man, which is what? One that's keeping the commandments of the Most High. We know, we just read Romans 7 and 12. Commandments is good. Commandments is holy. And the law is holy and just and good. So someone that's keeping the commandments and the laws of the Most High cannot bring forth evil fruit. Now, how you going to bring forth this evil, casting the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit back through you if you keep the commandments of the Most High? It's not going to work. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. So if they corrupt, how are they going to bring forth a great righteous man? That's what he's saying. They can't do it. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. You're going to know them by what they do, their actions, what they do in these mortal bodies, straight up. No more, no less. See, that's why we got to look at this, because we have a lot to consider beyond what it is that has been told to us, which is not the truth. It's not the truth. Or you gotta show me where you can do this Yeah, he said it. You're gonna be saved. You're gonna be all right. You can be all right. What's the point of being in the truth? If you ain't gotta do this, you ain't gotta be in the truth. All you gotta do is just like somebody told me in my face. Why I gotta do what you doing? I'll just come back to y'all. Y'all just do whatever y'all do, and I'll just keep on being wicked, whatever I'm doing, whatever, and I'll just come back to y'all. Think about it. Are Jews welcome here? I am a Jew. I mean, what do you mean is Jews welcome here? Listen at this. So you got to break this down for me. Since y'all say anybody could be saved, no matter how wicked they are, they're gonna come back to the ones that make it. We doing all this to make it, and barely say the righteous scarce are gonna be saved. Now you got to show me that they gonna be saved. You see? Um, let's look at Matthew 12. Because like I say, it's a preparation for the things that we need to be, how we're supposed to be operating, how we need to be before everything just shut down and we caught up in what it is that's written in the scriptures as far as, so many things that's going to be so much against us so that we can be able to make it. I'll just say it like that, It says Matthew 12:31. It says, wherefore I say unto you, these are MASHAYACH's words, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men. Hear that? It says, wherefore I say unto you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men, but the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit shall not be forgiven unto men. So if the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is not forgiven unto men, then how are they going to be saved? And whosoever speaketh a word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven him. You can talk about, you talk about a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. So that could be forgiven you. You see? But whosoever speaketh against the Holy Spirit, what we're teaching, it shall not be forgiven him, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. Now you got to make sure that those that blaspheme the Holy Spirit going to come to those that make it into the kingdom. Talk to me. How is that? You see? But he said, but whosoever speaketh against the Holy Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. You see? So he said, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by its fruit, right? Hip talk. So that's why he said, oh, generation of vipers, like we have right now, people that are, destroyed totally for being programmed by someone that has no reason to even open up the Bible talking about it, what this Bible is talking about, because they have no understanding of what it's talking about. So either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by its fruit. Oh, generation of vipers, he called them. Just like you got a whole bunch of vipers right now, poisonous snakes, cussing them out, really, telling them off. How can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, which is when you think, the mouth speaketh. A good man out of the good treasure of the heart, where you think, bringing forth good tidings, good things. And an evil man out of the evil treasure bringing forth evil things. But I said to you, he said that every idle word, the words you're speaking right now, that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. But you have those that has nothing to do with even open up this Bible, saying anything about what this Bible is talking about, trying to teach us. Ain't nobody teaching me, per se, or another nation. I don't think so. unless it coincides with what I've learned throughout 30-something years of teaching, 30-something teachers of years of learning. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. It's very important. That's why he said in Matthew 7:1, judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, we're going to judge by what this Bible's saying. Precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. For with what judgment you judge, according to this Bible, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, ye shall be measured to, it shall be measured to you again. You see? So, and that's what it's all about, because we done sat around here and listen to these false prophets that done led us into where? What is religion? That's why I call it crisp insanity. Because that's all, it's insane, man. It's insanity. I just seen some people twerking in the church, man. Just like they was, I mean, just as bad as in the club. Twerking, shaking their booties all in the club. Then going into the church and doing the same thing. Justify that. That's why I say, hey, you better understand, man. People being deceived, man. That's why he say Proverbs 1:22. People just run their mouth. Proverbs 1:22. Say, how long these simple ones, call you simple. How long these simple ones will ye love simplicity? Chris, insanity is simple. All you got to do is repeat what somebody done told you, but you cannot bring forth what this Bible is really talking about. That's why I say, how long you simple ones would you love simplicity? And the scorners, you got scorners up in here now, delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. No scripture, ain't gonna bring no scripture, no breakdowns of any shape or form, but they're gonna run their mouth. Fools hate knowledge. They deceive, man. Go to Matthew 24:3. We in these times, and they just had a earthquake somewhere back east. Down might have been, I think, in Louisiana. Earthquake. Come on, look. What did MASHAYACH said? Matthew 24:3. They said, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Anyway, talking about that, of the end of the world. What are these preachers talking about, the end of the world? Huh? What I said? And MASHAYACH answered and said to them, take heed that no man deceive you. It's very important. That's why I'm giving y'all Revelation 18:23. Don't let nobody deceive you, because we've been deceived enough. The last sentence says what? For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Understand this. And it's through their medicines, through their pharmaceuticals. Also, their witchcrafts that they have on people. They walking around, they out of their mind. They're not really right. And straight up witchcrafts. They didn't say witchcraft, they said witchcrafts. You see? We're all nations deceived. That's why the master always said, telling you, he said, hey, Matthew 24:4, he said, hey, and the master always said, answer and said to them, take heed. You better pay attention that no man deceive you. Don't let nobody lie to you. Because we've been lied to enough. That's why ain't nobody gonna come forth and bring forth what I know, when I know what I know. To change my mind to believe something different. That's what he say. Take heed that no man deceive you. Many people have been deceived, man. But many shall come in my name like Christian. And those that say that they are Mashiach, they didn't came in his name. They still come in his name, saying, I am Mashiach. I am the Christ. And shall deceive many. You see that? What Christian religion is saying that we have to do this? Name them. Name them. Go back to Matthew 5:17. What religion is doing this? Because this one, YAHAWASHI said, think not, don't even think that I am come to destroy the law. So what religion is keeping the laws of the Most High? Teach you the moral laws, the civil laws, the dietary laws, the ceremonial laws. None. None. You name them. Can you name them? No. No. No, no. They're not telling you you got to keep the laws of the Most High. They're saying you're under grace. You're not under the law. You're under grace. I just did a series on that. Does grace give you a license to sin, which is transgress the Most High's laws that he wrote with his finger? No. It says, think not, don't even think that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So they'll say he came to fulfill the fact that I can sin, and all my sins, he nailed them to the cross when he was hung on a tree. Another lie. He wasn't hung on the cross, he was hung on a tree. That's what the scripture says. But they say, hey, I can do what I want to do because, you know, his blood was shed for me. And they say they Gentiles. They don't claim to be us as Israelites. They claim to be Gentiles. You see? So it says, hey, and what did he come to fulfill? He came to fulfill what was written about him. That's why I say you can understand through the precept. Acts 3. And 18. This is what he came to fulfill, and it's clear. But those things which the Most High before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets that the MASHAYACH should suffer, he has so fulfilled. You see that? He fulfilled that he had to come here and suffer for the sins of the 12 tribes of Israel. That's why when you look at 1 Peter's the 1st chapter, the 10th verse, that's why I say, man, we got to be ready knowing these facts of what's important. 1 Peter's 1st chapter, the 10th verse. Don't be deceived. Say many are going to be deceived, right? They say, of which salvation, that's powers from the authority, the prophets have inquired. The prophets are in the Old Testament, y'all. They're not in the New Testament. The apostles are in the New Testament. The apostles are in the Old Testament. Excuse me, the prophets are in the Old Testament. Of which salvation, that's powers from the authority, the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you, right? That's not to any religion, because you can't find no religion in this Bible. Or prove me wrong. You're not going to find no religion in this Bible. He gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to go by. Searching what or what matter of time. And that grace came to the Israelites. Let's prove that real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 4:15. Protestant church took the Apocrypha out of the Bible. I love it because it's straight clear. Wisdom of Solomon 4:15. This the people saw and understood it not. Like a lot of people deceived, not understand what this Bible is really talking about. Neither laid they up this in their minds, that his grace and mercy is with his saints. His grace and mercy with his saints. Who the saints, y'all? That's why I said it's very important to know these definitions according to the Bible. So without a shadow of a doubt, nobody can gainsay on this. Who the saints? Psalm 148:14. He also exalted the horn, which is the power of his people, the praise of all his saints. To the definition of the saints, even of the children of Israel, who are we? A people near to the Most High. Praise ye the Most High. Praise the Most High. So there it is right there. So the grace that's will come to the Israelites, not to everybody, because nobody was given the laws except for the Israelites. Prove that. Prove that the so-called white man, the Arabs, the East Indians, the Japanese, Chinese, Africans, you name them, that they were given the laws of the Most High. This was given the laws of the Most High. Psalm 147, 19 and 20. Psalm 147, 19 and 20. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. That's the Israelites, 12 tribes of Israel. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. 12 tribes of Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. Therefore, he ain't give his laws, statutes, commandments to any other nation. And as for his judgment, that's the punishments for breaking the Most High's commandment. They have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. See? So that's letting you know point blank that these other nations have not known the Most High. That's why they program us to say we Gentiles, just like them. When we the Israelites, we the chosen people of the Most High. Going back to 1 Peter 1 and 10, of which salvation, that's probably from the authority, the prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace, that's grace is getting something you don't deserve to get, that should come unto you, that you was the 12 tribes of Israel. Searching what or what manner of time the spirit of a Mashiach, which was in them, how the spirit of a Mashiach was in the prophets, if he just came in the earth for the first time in the flesh. The spirit of Mashiach, which was in them, did signify when it testified beforehand the sufferings of a Mashiach and the glory that should follow. That's why I say he fulfilled the sufferings that he had to go through for us, the children of Israel, for our sins. Acts 5, 30 and 31. Acts 5 and 30. Because you got scoffers up in here, they don't know the scriptures. It says what? The power of our fathers. Who was that? The power of our fathers. Who's that? How you prove that? Acts 3:13. I'm gonna come in one day. All I'm gonna do is just give quizzes, point blank, on all these definitions. That's all I'm telling y'all now. That's all we're gonna do all day. All the whole class gonna be definitions. Acts 3:13. The power of Abraham and of Isaac and of Jacob, the power of our fathers. Just like he said, that's his name forever, memorial to all generations in Exodus 3:15. And MASHAYACH identified him in Matthew 22:32. Here it is again, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And Jacob was the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. Can't go wrong with that. So now going back to Acts 5 and 30, the power of our fathers, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, raised up a Mashiach, whom you slew and hanged on a tree. And it say hung on a cross, hung on a tree, right? Wicked Israel gave him over to the Romans, and the Romans put him to death. Him was Mashiach, the Most High exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins. That's to the Israelites, period. You can't gainsay on that, can you? Matthew 24. Go back to Matthew 24. So we're in these days right now, as he said it would happen over 2,000 years ago. Here we are now in it. Look. Matthew 24 and 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach. Wasn't no Christian, nothing, when he walked the earth. Say, I am Mashiach. It says, and shall deceive many. Say, and shall deceive many, shall lie to many people. And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars, like we having wars right now. And rumors of wars. Say, see that ye be not troubled. You hear that? Say, see that you be not troubled. Because a lot of people are troubled behind these wars. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Hear what he said? He let you know what to look for, so you be ready. So you got to get ready. But nation shall rise against nation. Now you see what's happening right now. Been happening. Nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines. There'll be food shortages. The food prices is going up. And pestilences, different diseases, that they can't cure, and earthquakes in diverse places. Like I said, they just had an earthquake in Louisiana. All these are a beginning of sorrows. You see? All these are a beginning of sorrows. Look at verse 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, Here is Mashiach. Or there. It say, believe him not. Believe it not. Don't believe it. Why? Revelation 1 and 7. Hey, the Mashiach is over here. Hey, he's over there. He's with us. Listen what it said. Revelation 1 and 7. Hear the word of the Most High. Behold, he coming with clouds. That's the chariots, the IFOs. Identified flying objects. They call them flying saucers. We call them identified flying objects. He coming with clouds. And every eye, this is what I'm here, every eye shall see him. See that? And every eye shall see him. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so. And I don't deal with that because AMEN is ZEUS last name. And AMEN goes all the way back to AMENRA, back to the Egyptian #1 God. But see, they put it in here, and you'll just say it, you say, oh, and it means what? Because I asked brother, what does it mean? It's so be it. What does AMEN mean? So be it. What does it mean? So be it. I mean, you get some humility out of that. You tell the Most High, you can pray to the Most High, and at the end of your prayer, you're going to say, tell him, so be it. That's what you're telling the Most High. Yes? No? That's what you're doing? You say that's what it means. You telling him, so be it, for whatever you said. And you ain't even never talking about him. You ain't even in your conversation. And when you talk about him, you got something negative or whatever, this, that, and the third, to make sure that you go off of that subject to deal with something else. And that's negative to me. You have nothing to say about him. Y'all better understand. He the only one going to bring righteousness on this earth. He the one that's a man of war. Exodus 15 and 3. The Most High Yahawah is his name. He a man of war. He the one that ruling the kingdom of men. So you see the war, because MASHAYACH said you're going to see wars. But every eye going to see him. Don't worry about nobody saying he over here, he over there. So he said, don't be concerned about that. He said, look, Matthew 24:23, then if any man shall say to you, lo, here's Mashiach, or there, believe it not. He said, believe it not. But see, people reading the Bible, they ain't really looking at spiritually what it's saying because they read too fast. Or they just, it's just a veil is over their face or something. But there shall arise false Mashiachim and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. I've seen things happen in my lifetime with brothers, man, and sisters, that people came on this earth, they called up something from some other dimension, and they show great signs and wonders. And for them to follow them, it proved that they were not the elect. He said, but if it were possible, he said, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. So these are the things I look at. Well, okay, well, I ain't forgot this. So many things, phenomenal things have happened that I remember what he's saying right here. They're going to be doing signs and wonders beyond imagination. See, people don't realize and don't forget, once you see, don't ever forget. I've had, brothers, man, they was powerful brothers, man. The signs and wonders, they didn't never have no signs and wonders to be able to bring to the table as testimonies. So when the signs and wonders happen, so it was possible to see the very elect. They went for it. Look at this. 2 Corinthians 11. That's why I say we're time at war, but our first warfare starts with us. 2 Corinthians 11, 14. Saying, no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. You see that? So he's going to transform himself as an angel of light. So therefore, you look at it, oh, I believe in Jesus. But what did he say? if Satan appear as an angel of light, and y'all ain't have enough analytical thinking to think about what is he really saying when you look at St. John, the first chapter. In the beginning was the Word was with the Most High, the Word was MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. The same was in the beginning with the Most High, but they put G-O-D there, right? So you're thinking, okay, well, because they say, oh, that's him. He ain't with himself. They say all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. All things was made by MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, right? In him was life. And the MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness. He in the Roman Empire. He's saying the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. You see, it's like right now, with him being in us, and we throwing forth this light, we're shining in darkness. Only the people in gross darkness. You understand that? Even when he came on the earth, the people were in gross darkness. Because he told Esau in Isaiah 47:5 to get into darkness. When he went into darkness, he put the people in gross darkness. So he's telling you, Satan appears what? An angel of light. So therefore, you can't tell me that he ain't appeared as an angel of light. When the MASHAYACH said, hey, and the light, that's a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI signed up in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. You gonna tell me that ain't happened? It ain't happening right now? Talk to me. Straight up. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. You see? But Satan didn't appear as an angel of light. So he appeared as a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. And he knew this when he came on the earth. That's why I say, going back to 2 Corinthians 11, so don't be deceived. That's his job, to deceive you. If you ain't tapped into the spirit of the Most High to really look at this, take your time. This ain't something you deal with in a hurry. If you really want to be an analytical thinker, you can't deal with this in a hurry. You got to look at it slowly. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Not only that, Proverbs 6:23, this is what he's done. And as he's done, you have people that really don't know these definitions to be able to know what it's really talking about. That's why I say I'm going to come on, all I'm going to do is definitions. I'm telling y'all now. Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. Right? And reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So Satan did appear as a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, and he also appeared bringing forth the law of the Most High. But it's cunning, crafty, sneaky. It's not really dealing with the law, because he can't really deal with the law, but he's going to do it in a way to have you go opposite of the law. You understand? He's still dealing with it, but he's not dealing with it in a righteous way. He got to deal with it in an unrighteous way. So to have you thinking that you are following the light when you really following darkness. You really in gross ignorance. Like they done us. They put us in gross ignorance. And now when you coming out of that, through the power of the Most High, by so much like y'all side, it's a problem. Why the scoffers have a problem with us bringing forth what it is that we know. Because they wasn't given it. It's not given to them. It is not going to be given to them unless they sit down and learn from the men that in these last days have been sent on this earth to teach. It's not them. That's why I say they can't teach me nothing. Unless it's something I don't know that's contrary, that goes along with the Bible. But all things that's contrary to what this word is saying, get that. They supposed to be learning from us. We don't learn from them. And what we got? What does it lead us to? I don't want to have to pull up what I've seen today, twerking in the church. They getting women twerking all in the church. What? That's where we at. That's why I went to where I went initially, through the Spirit of the Most High. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel, for Satan himself was transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers, Satan have ministers, also be transformed into as the ministers of righteousness. You hear that? So we know that light is what? The commandments of the Most High. And here it is. The righteousness is also the commandments and the laws of the Most High. So they transform themselves as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works, right? Because they're not dealing with actually bringing our people to the righteousness of the Most High, but the righteousness of the way they've been programmed to have the people follow what it is that's off, that's wrong. Verse 13, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers. Remember, what is the first thing on MASHAYACH tell her? Don't let anybody deceive you. And they deceive us through their sorceries, multitude of sorceries, multitude of witchcrafts. Yeah, that's what I say. Oh, they ain't ping, ping, ping. The witch is leaving, ping, ping, they out of here. I want to hear that. I love it. But such are false apostles. What did it say? Deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of a Mashiach. Come on, man. Can't get no clearer than this. Come on now, you know that. Transforming themselves into the apostles of a Mashiach. Come on. Y'all know I got to put in your face. Transforming themselves into the apostles of a Mashiach. The boys is 5 people in that picture, man. Come on, get out of here. That's why we got to be ready. You cannot allow this to go on like it is, man. 1 John 4:1. That's why, look. 1 John 4:1. Because people gonna be they're gonna try and find a way. They're trying to find a way to somebody that's gonna be able to know something. They ain't trying to learn now, but whenever this go down, as it get closer and closer, I remember when 911 happened, we could even hardly shut the doors. People were so packed in the church, man. It's everybody running. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, it's the end of the world. They were scared. Soon everything died down. They went right back to the world where it was at. 1 John 4:1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. You know? You got to try the spirit whether they're of the Most High. How you gonna try the spirit whether they're of the Most High? What's your way of trying the spirit that's in a person to see if they're of the Most High or not? When you even talk about the Most High, you ain't studied the Most High enough to even know the attributes of the Most High, how he operates by himself, I'm saying. I'm not talking about him talking to Israel. Now I'm talking about he himself, the attributes of the Most High, how he operates in dealing with himself to bring forth whatever it is that we can learn about him. We his ways and thoughts, not our ways and thoughts. And we know in part and prophesy in part. But you better know about him. He the one that's going to set righteousness on this earth, y'all. You can't call on the MASHAYACH to do it. Because he said, look, you better recognize Matthew 24:36. Just in case some of you think you're going to call on the MASHAYACH to bring forth the end days. No. Got another thing coming. What he said? He said out of his own mouth. He said, but of that day and hour, know of no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Can get no clearer than that. He said, but the Most High only. That's why you got to look at it. Say, beloved, believe not every spirit. Who to beloved? Who to be loved? Like I say, when I come on here, it's gonna be like question and answer. Now I'm giving the questions, y'all get the answers. Who to be loved? How you prove who to be loved are? Because it said be loved. A lot of people, they like to, say we don't know what we're talking about, this, that, and the third. But if you get these definitions right, you be on point. Beloved. Baruch 3:36. It said beloved. Believe not every spirit, right? So who he's talking to? Who to be loved? Baruch 3:36. He have found out all the way of knowledge and have given it unto Jacob, his servant, and to Israel, his beloved. You see that? So the Israelites are the beloved of the Most High. When the text say beloved, it's not talking to no one but Israel. So it said beloved. We just defined beloved in Baruch 3:36. Believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know ye the spirit of the Most High. Every spirit that confesses that MASHAYACH is come in the flesh is of the Most High. See that? Because some people don't believe he came in the flesh. And if some people believe that he came in the flesh, he's olive color. So I'm asking, he's green. My olives are green, brown, and black. Which one do you choose? He looked like the Hulk when he came? Was he brown or was he black? I know it says in Revelation 1:15, it says his feet like in the fine brass if it burned in a furnace. You know, it's a very, very dark-skinned man. It said every spirit that confesses not that a Mashiach says coming to flesh is not of the Most High, and this is that spirit of anti-Mashiach against him, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is in the world. Man. That's why when we look at this, for real, in these end times that we in, if we don't take the time to first and foremost look at ourselves to be ready, so you ain't got to get ready, and you're already practicing the right, ways of how to be, then it's gonna be something else, man. It's gonna be something to behold. From what's written in the scriptures as far as you see, let the multitude perish in which were born in vain. Let my grape and my plant be kept, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Look, Matthew 24:13. Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. They asked him in verse 3, when it's going to be, when going to be the sign of that coming in the end of the world. So he said, he that endure until the end, the same shall be saved. He said, this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And it's amazing. I believe this Bible is in mostly every language in the world at this time. And the most I have enough here for us to receive salvation. It's just a matter of, like I said, certain things they have inserted. In some Bibles, they have taken verses out. I'm going to deal with that also. To show you all these verses that they took out. And they took things out. They put things in, like AMEN and LORD, which means BAAL. AMEN is ZEUS last name that y'all calling on at the end of your prayer. Or prove me wrong. AMENRA, same thing. Egyptian deities. And GOD, as we went over earlier, is DOG, dog spelled backwards. It's a European dramatic word that they created around the 6th century. When it started being to be used, we wasn't dealing with this at all. But now it's like something that is of the norm. I hear LORD more than I hear the Most High. It's just something that's embedded in us, man. It's like when you really realize and look at it, man, I gotta not offend the Most High. I don't want to offend the Most High. Luke 12. And 41. Then Peter said unto him, Mashiach YAHAWASHI, see they put LORD there. Speakest thou this parable unto us or even to all? And Mashiach said, that's why we use and say LORD, because they put it there a lot for us to follow and call on their God, BAAL, y'all. There it is right here. You see it? That's from the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Let's see. I think this is. And you know, the most I speak once, say twice, man, perceive it not. So you have to keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over again till they get it. Look at this. See that? That's on Jeopardy. Okay. Now here go Epstein niece.
And yeah, you're a very powerful speaker, and you're very well researched. We've had a lot of survivors.
Fair use.
And we salute you, you know, for the level of detail and knowledge that you have. I think it was David Icke who woke me up to the ancient cults and the bloodlines that continued to these generations. And I think you're the first survivor, perhaps, who's actually detailed how that has continued over the ages. So if you could maybe expand on that a little bit, I think the viewers would find this fascinating.
What specifically would you like expanded on?
So what was the cult that you mentioned earlier, the ancient one?
The cult of Baal, B-A-B-A-L.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I know very little about it. My family masqueraded themselves as Jewish publicly. But behind closed doors, you know, at Passover dinners, when I was drugged, would admit, we are Satanists. Now, what I can understand is the public has caught on to this, but they call them the Illuminati. And I find that interesting because Illuminati means illuminated. I perceive the Illuminati, in fact, to be individuals like yourself, other conspiracists like Alex Jones, even people like Kanye West, who have been trying to illuminate people to this. I do not believe it is a unified organization, but a loose collection of individuals who are illuminated to the cult of Baal, who has successfully mythologized themselves as the Illuminati.
There it is. So, I mean, you can look it up for yourself. The first word for the letter B in any Bible dictionary, or any dictionary for that matter, you'll see it's B-A-A-L. It means L-O-R-D. Straight up. And the reason why I'm spelling it, because of Exodus 23 and 13. In the law, it says, in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, be cautious, be careful, and make no mention of the name of other gods, other idols, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. You see that? So, the Most High specific on that. Where we going to be at? You know, what we doing? We'll make up an excuse and say, oh, Most High know my heart. Yeah, you know your heart. Heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. He know that for sure. So we have to, as much as possible, not allow these things to happen. Look, Revelations, the 2nd chapter, verse 26. And he that overcometh, he that endureth to the end, he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. You that? He said, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Because we got next forever and ever and ever. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. That's the laws of the Most High, the commandments of the Most High. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. You hear that? That's why it's very important for you Gentile nations to hear and learn from we, the men of the Most High. This is Jeremiah 12 and 16. He prophesied this. He said, and it shall come to pass, it's a future prophecy, if they who are the Gentile nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, if you outside of those 12 tribes, he's saying this to you, and it shall come to pass, if they, who are these Gentile nations, will generally learn the ways of my people. He just say he gonna rule you with a rod of iron. That's the laws of the Most High, the commandments of the Most High. If you other nations will diligently learn the ways of my people to swear by my name, if you swear by his name, we just went over earlier how his name is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob is the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. They learn the ways of my people. My people are who? What's the definition of my people? Like I said, I'm coming on. All we doing is definitions from the scriptures all night long. Matthew 2 and 6. The definition of my people. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. You see? And that's how this works. My people Israel. So that defines my people, who are the Israelites, right? So now, going back to Jeremiah 12, 16, now that we know that my people are the Israelites, it says, and it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, who are the Israelites, to swear by my name, the power of who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Most High liveth, as they taught my people to swear by B-A-A-L. You can't deny this. I heard it today. I heard it yesterday, the day before, and I heard it all so many days. B-A-A-L means what? L-O-R-D. And where they put it at? In the Bible. So everybody say that more than they say the Most High. They say L-O-R-D more than they say Yahweh, more than they say the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Tell me they don't. Look, it says, like I said, you know, take it as you want to. It's real. As they taught my people to swear by B-A-A-L, because we use L-O-R-D straight up. Now, B-A-A-L, like you just said, they worship B-A-A-L. And so who is it that published the Bibles? Who is it that making the money off the Bibles? If I might ask. They are. We ain't making no money off no Bibles. What Bibles you selling? Your family gonna reap benefits from your works of selling Bibles. Got your name on the front of it. In masses. You see? So they have the ability to give us what it is that they want to give us, knowing that we the children of Israel. You just heard what she said. They don't worship the Most High. They worship B-A-A-L. Like you said, as you taught my people to swear by B-A-A-L, which is L-O-R-D, straight up. Then shall they be built in the midst of my people. Then they have opportunity to be in the kingdom that's prepared for the children of Israel, point blank. For the Most High, MASHAYACH, and the children of Israel. But there's a condition. If is another condition, they will not obey. Obey what? Diligently learning the ways of my people, of what we're teaching. in these last days, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation. Hear that? You say, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation. Who said it? Said the Most High. But you got a choice. That's what you got to do. If not, then hey, you're going to have to deal with the Most High. And you know, Hebrews 10:31, class, you know what that says? It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. Straight up. But you don't know him. Y'all done made the Most High some kind of weakness. Man, you better understand, boy. Hebrews 12:29. But our power is a consuming fire. Remember we read earlier about his wheels? I mean, his throne, fiery throne, sitting on his fiery throne, fire all around him. Matter of fact, he fire from his waist up, fire from his waist down. What you gonna do with that? And he said the heavens can't contain him. What you gonna do with that? And MASHAYACH ain't coming back as a man. He coming back in this angelic power to set up righteousness on this earth, man. What you gonna do with that? That's why he told you in Hebrews 13:17, y'all. He said, obey them that have the rule over you. That's the teachers. And submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls. And see, when you look at how, you know, people go off and they want to do their own thing, and it's like real hurtful. And it's been hurtful because you watching for their soul, you praying for them, you trying to get them to see that what you're dealing with is the truth to salvation. And you see, he opened it up to everyone. From what I just read, he opened up to everyone. Oh, he gonna pluck you up and destroy you. Who said it? Said the Most High. That's for us first too, as the Israelites, and to you other nations. Simple as that. That's why I said, obey them that have the rule over you. And submit yourselves. Spiritually, you have to do this. For they watch for your souls, as they that must give an account. You understand? But see, people count that out. You know, you have to give an account for these wicked people or whoever it is that don't want to really listen to what it is that you have given your life to bring forth what is necessary to make it to the kingdom. And showing it wholeheartedly, enduring everything that you can't even imagine. Because our people, they don't bring all this greatness, great happiness and all that stuff. They bring everything that's sad. Things that you got to deal with, you got to make a decision on their life. And you have to give an account to the Most High, that they may do it with joy and not with grief. Y'all don't understand that. There is a consequence behind this, that they may do it with joy and not with grief. What do you say? But that is unprofitable for you. Unless you just downplay. You can downplay us all you want to. But hear what he said. That's not profitable. That's unprofitable for you. It's not profitable for you. We have to give account for everything that's being done. Then you look at, people are, you love, they off. You don't care and being off. They could care less. Some people could care less. Look at go to Isaiah 44th chapter. And verse 1. It said, yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant. So Jacob is a servant. We read that in Baruch 3:36. Jacob, my servant. So these are the definitions that y'all need to be writing down so you know. So when you see servant or servants, you'll know that it's talking about we, the 12 tribes of Israel. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. So if you want to know who the chosen are, he's telling you right here, Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus say the Most High Power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. It's gonna help. He's our help, y'all. You can't find nowhere else in the Bible but a help like the Most High gonna give us. He said, thus say the Most High, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel, another name he called Jezreel, whom I have chosen. Say, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty. Hear that? He said, I'm gonna pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water's courses, man. Understand this. Get Ephesians 5:26. Ephesians 5:26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it. Sanctify meaning cleaning us up. How? With the washing of water by the word. You see? So he's not just talking about, cleaning us up. He's saying, I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, just to give you some water because you're thirsty. No, he's talking about, he said that he might sanctify and cleanse us with the washing of water by the word, by us learning the word of the Most High. Even on MASHAYACH said in St. John 15:3. St. John 15:3. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you, right? Also, St. John 17:17. St. John 17:17. Sanctify them through thy truth. Sanctify means to clean us up through the truth. Thy word is truth. So we know what the truth is also, class, right? Psalms 119:142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So you're going to be cleaned up through the laws of the Most High, and the word, I mean, you can't get the law unless you read words, right? Is the truth. So you find the truth in the laws of the Most High, as he teaches us throughout the Bible. You understand? But the laws, the moral laws, the civil laws, the dietary laws, the ceremonial laws, and the sacrificial laws are in the first 5 books of the Bible. You know what I mean? We can learn the laws. Plus you can just type in going over the laws with Freestyle Wam, or you on my hopefully you in YouTube. If not, then if you go to Freestyle Wam, THAAHWAM, people have a problem spelling my name. There's 2 A's in there, THAAHWAM. And just just type in going over the laws. You can go on to YouTube and just put going over the laws, and you'll see that I'm going over the laws. You can review the laws, and so forth. So that's how we're gonna be cleaned up through the word, John 8:32. These are bases. I mean, John 8:32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You shall know the laws and the commandments of the Most High, which is the truth, and the truth gonna make you free. John 14:6. I mean, that's why I say, if it were for everyone, then everybody would understand what he's saying. This ain't for everybody. MASHAYACH said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man come to the Father but by me, right? Here it is. I am the way to show you how to follow the truth. He was an example. He was keeping the commandments of the Most High, the laws of the Most High that's going to lead to everlasting life. He said, no man come up to the Father but by me. And there's no New Testament when he's saying that. So how is it that you're going to look at that and read that and think in your wildest dreams that there is no New Testament, there's no Old Testament? Or you don't have to follow the Old Testament. All you need is the New Testament. That's what preachers teach. They don't teach where it comes from. I mean, he said, no man come up to the Father but by me. Now, how is that? But there's no New Testament. He gonna go up in the synagogue and say, nobody come to the Father but by me. Come on. That's why he's like a stumbling block to most people. Because they're not spiritual. They don't understand that he come in the volume of the book is written to him. He the angel of the Most High talking to Moses. Understand this. So he pouring his word on us. That's why I say we're gonna spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses, man. That's why he told us, man, when you look at Isaiah 60 and 21, he said, hey, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planet. That's the Most High gonna do this. The work of my hands. So he said, mine is the Most High, that I might be glorified. You hear that? That he might be glorified. This is all the kingdom coming so that he could be glorified. Point blank. Not us, not on MASHAYACH, no angels, nobody but the Most High right there could be glorified. They say a little one shall become 1,000. Gonna grow up like the grass cell. A little one gonna become 1,000. A small one, a strong nation. I, the Most High, will hasten it in his time. He gonna do that. Guaranteed, y'all. Guaranteed. All praise to the Most High. MASHAYACH. Look, Jeremiah 30th chapter. So I said, we got to be ready. Too late to get ready. You got to be ready. Jeremiah 30 and 7. It said, alas, for that day is great. It's a day that's coming, y'all. It's going to be a great day. So that none is like it. There's going to be no day like this. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Trouble for us as the Israelites. But he shall be saved out of it. You hear that? Trouble is coming, but we're going to be saved out of it. Thus say the Most High. Which shall come to pass in that day, said the Most High, power of hosts, power of army of angels, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. It will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. We ain't going to be serving nobody but the Most High. Wow, MASHAYACH, MASHAYACH. But they shall serve the Most High their power. See there? There it is. We're going to serve the Most High our power, and we're going to be all righteous. And David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Most High, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar. Hear that? You say you're going to save us from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. Hear that? We're going to be saved from the land of our captivity. And we know we're over here in this Western hemisphere big time. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest. We're going to return and be in rest and be quiet. And none shall make him afraid. So y'all know what that word fear means. That's actually what fear the Most High means. Anything but being afraid of him. You already say what that means. Ain't nobody going to make us fear no more. That's why he said what he said. Therefore fear thou not. But that fear don't mean to be afraid, to be scared. When we ask you what the fear of the Most High, y'all have every other answer except for to be afraid, to be scared. That's why I say in verse 10 of Jeremiah the 30th chapter, say, therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Most High, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar. And the Most High, not a man should lie. And thy seed, that's our children, from the land of their captivity, those going to lock into the truth and learn to live and apply it in their life. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, said the Most High, to save thee, said the Most High, while MASHAYACH. Though I make a full end of all nations, hear that? Say, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. So nations better be trying to understand what the Spirit is bringing forth, for them learning what it is that they supposed to be learning that we teaching. You hear what he said? Though I make a full end of all nations. He said, if they want to obey, he said, you're going to pluck up and destroy those nations. We just read that in Jeremiah 12:17. He say, yet, he say, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee, and we scatter among all these nations, you know, yet will I not make a full end of thee, we the children of Israel, but I will correct thee in measure. And that's what we've been dealing with, being corrected. And now the correction is we got to stop offending him any way, shape, or form, man, and woman, and child, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So he ain't leaving us altogether unpunished. What you say, he going to leave these nations unpunished? And they dealing with idolatry. They not even dealing with the Most High power, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Some of them just learning about what it is that we're teaching. Better understand. Understand it's just real. Before it's too late. It's going to come a time, man, that you ain't going to be able. Look at Jeremiah 15:6. Thou art forsaken me, said the Most High. Thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. See, that's all we can do is repent. We ain't sacrifice no animals for the total of our sin. We can only go to the Most High with repentance. You know what he said? He said, I am weary with repenting. Till you get on my nerve, repent. He wants to be obedient. Look what we said. Jeremiah 14. Verse 20, we acknowledge, O Most High, our wickedness and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against thee. We got to acknowledge the wickedness and iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against the Most High. Do not abhor us. Do not hate us, O Most High, for thy name's sake, because his name is in our name. Yah, Allah. Do not hate us for thy name's sake. Do not disgrace the throne of thy glory. Remember, break not thy covenant with us. See, these are the things that I look at our ancestors say that we could say to the Most High. The covenants with who? Jeremiah 31. So when Jeremiah, go to Jeremiah 31:31. Don't break this covenant with us, right? You see, these so-called preachers talking about a covenant with anybody. They lying. Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, said the Most High, that I will make a new covenant, a new contract, a new agreement with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. That's the northern tribes and the southern tribes. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand and brought to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break. I mean, we broke the commandments of the Most High. Although I was although I was married unto them, because HUSBAND is still dealing with BAAL. Still dealing with BAAL too. So there it is right there, you see? Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm trying to get it to a right distance so that it can be seen. See, HUSBAND still there. He was married unto us, I'll say that. Said the Most High, verse 33, but this shall be the covenant, the contract that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, said the Most High, I will put my law in their inward parts and write them in their hearts. You see, write them in our minds. Their hearts is the minds of what we think, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. That's why we know that this covenant that he said he's going to put his laws in our mind is not intact right now, because we're teaching. I'm teaching right now. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. So that part of the covenant has not been fulfilled. Because the MASHAYACH going to come and show us of the Most High, but we don't have to teach each other no more. He going to be the ultimate teacher for 1,000 years. See, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Most High. See, that's what I'm saying all the time. You know the Most High? They be saying no. And most Israelites, they're not teaching about the Most High only. Know the Most High. Nobody talking about the Most High. He's talking about Israel. Or prove me wrong. They debating about what? Who is who? Israel. Like people coming here today. Oh, Israel. You know, you're a Jew. I'm a Jew. You're not a Jew. You know, this, that, or third. All about people. People, people, people. That's all they talk about. But the Most High, he said, hey, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Most High. You think it's important? You think it's not important to know the Most High? Look what it's saying. You ain't going to teach no more about knowing the Most High. I'm giving you some futuristic, I guess, knowledge, wisdom, understanding that you should be knowing now for the past, to the future, to the present, to the future, I say. Come on. We're in the past right here. He said, hey, look, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. This is how important it is. And every man his brother, saying what? Know the Most High. You hear that? Know who? Know the Most High. They ain't gonna teach no more his neighbor about knowing the Most High. For they shall all know me. That's the Most High, y'all. From the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Most High, for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. That remnant that he's going to redeem of the 12 tribes of Israel, and that remnant of these other nations that's going to adhere and will be obedient to what we're teaching. Let me tell you something. I know you haven't thought about it, but if you have, all praise to the Most High. Y'all realize there are those that believe in what we're taught as Israelites of these other nations, long before we was even thought about. Yeah. That's coming back with a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. Why you think the Edomite woman that her daughter had a devil in her, Mark 7, 24 down? She knew all she had to come to MASHAYACH and say, hey, heal my daughter. What do you think? She ain't know about him? She ain't know about the power that he had? You had those that was rolling with us, man. The strangers, they're going to be servants, handmaids. We going to have somebody got to work. But it's going to be in a righteous kingdom. And those of you that want to deal with your attitude, this, that, and the third, whatever, we're going to meditate terror on you, it says. Straight up. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing we can do about whatever it is that we messed up. Like you say, we have sinned. So therefore, when we sin, we had to pay the price. Captivity, slavery, and bondage. Straight up. For breaking the Most High's laws. You nations have not been judged, as we read in Psalms 147, verse 20. As for the judgment of the Most High, you have not known them. But you're going to have to know, just like we know. Or you the chosen. And we cannot say we're the chosen. If you don't have to go through anything, then hey, you're the chosen, and we're not. And that's a lie. That come from the pit of damnation. That's a straight lie. You know, so he removed us into all kingdoms because we broke the laws of the Most High. There's a punishment. And we got it. We deserved it. And here now we're trying to come out of it. Everybody is against us coming against it. I know why. I know this is why. Straight up. All these wicked, evil people don't want to see us come back to the Most High. It's written straight up. I can't bring it out enough. And I'm bringing it out for you that, have heard it before, because we have new people that's just really tapping into, the YouTube pages and so forth. So Ezekiel 39 and 23. So you hear what it just said, though. We have to teach the knowing the Most High. That's why it's so important in my spirit to be able to show you got to know him as much as possible. We doing part and prophesying part, right? But you got to know him. You got to talk about him. And his name is not Lord. That ain't identifying him. That's Baal. Straight up. I can't show it enough. I'm going to keep on showing it till somebody will say, what's wrong with not saying it? They put it in the Bible. I mean, they worship Baal. They put their God in there. And you worshiping their God by calling on their God. But you can't really see that because y'all, I don't know. Like you said, say whatever. No enchantment to Israel, but it told you in Revelation 18:23, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And MASHAYACH said, and you about to begin this lesson, he said, don't be deceived. Don't let nobody deceive you. And they have deceived us. Why right now, that's something simple. It's not hard. We don't do it until the wisdom. We ain't saying Lord. We ain't saying Amen and God. Much as possible, man. I mean, we working on that. You got to work on it. So you're not doing it either. That's why I say, look, this is what these other nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel know. Ezekiel 39:23, and the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, for breaking the Most High's commandments. These other nations know that. What you think? They're going to show you the right way? They're going to say, hey, you got to keep the commandment. What religion? Let's deal with religion. What religion is keeping the moral laws, civil laws, dietary laws, ceremonial laws? You go to church and they teach you the laws of the Most High. Name them. See, it's quiet because they're not doing it. And bing, bing, you out of here. Yeah, because y'all want to keep on doing what y'all doing. That's why I said in Proverbs 122, how long you simple ones when you love simplicity. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them. The heathen, these other nations know this, and gave them into the hand of their enemies, not their friends, not our friends, but our enemies. So fell they all by the sword. So according to their uncleanness and according to their transgression have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Man. But when we come back to the Most High, he said, therefore, thus said the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob. He gonna save us, y'all, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, all that remnant, and will be jealous for my holy name. His name is in our name, Yahshua. After that, they have borne their shame. After we carried our shame, I think we are carrying our shame. We have carried our shame, captivity after captivity after captivity, and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. You hear that? Most had us dwelling safely in our land, nobody made us afraid. When I have brought them again from the people, he gonna bring us again from the people where he scattered us into these lands for us breaking his commandments, and gathered them out of their enemies' lands. It ain't our friends' lands. Gather us. He gonna gather us out of our enemies' lands, and sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. He gonna be clean. We gonna be cleaned up in front of all these nations. Then so they know that I am the Most High, their power. You hear that? We gonna know that the Most High our power. There is a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, said the Most High power. Make it mean something different. So he poured out his spirit amongst any other nation. He said we scattered, and he scattered us in the land of our enemies, not our friends. But y'all want everybody to be our friends. They ain't our friends. But we want to be, we friends to everybody, but nobody want to be our friend. Who care about us? Really? Come on. Nobody care about us. But they gonna care about us. But it's gonna be too late because you're not gonna buy your way into this. Gold and silver ain't gonna matter. Can you imagine the streets paved with gold? Ain't gonna be no gold like they have on this earth now. See, most sides say you're gonna make a new earth, new heavens, new earth. Man, it's gonna be, man, unbelievable. Look, go to Second Ezra third chapter. Let's look at verse 2. It says, "For I saw the desolation of Zion, and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon." When we went to captivity under the Babylonians for 70 years. He said he's seen the desolation of our land, right? And the desolation of we, the people, with Zion also. It says, "And my spirit was so moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High and said, O Most High, who beareth rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commanded the people, and gave up a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living from thee, before thee," going all the way back to Adam. "And thou lettest him into paradise," see this, "which thy right hand had planted," which is a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, "before ever the earth came forward." That's why when you understand what a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI prayed for in John, let me make sure. John 17:1, we can read it from there. He said, before the earth was even made, he said, which they right hand had planted, right? Listen, these words spake of MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, John 17:1, and lifted up his eyes here on the earth to heaven and said, Father, he ain't praying to himself. He said, Father, the hour is come, glorify thy son, that thy son also may glorify thee. He said he's a son of the Most High. He's not the Most High. Then he says in verse 5, just looking at what Ezra goes, you understand this. We lost the Bible. We had lost the Bible. And the Most High allowed Ezra to bring it back to us, right? Because we had lost we didn't have the Bible. And Ezra, Most High gave him 204 books, bringing it back. So it says, he said in John 17:5, he praying to the Most High in the flesh, on the earth, looking up in the heavens, praying to the Most High. Look what he said. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee, when? Before the world was. That's what you look at here, that Ezra identify him in 2 Ezra 3 and 6. And thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted, before ever the earth came forward. You see? So now, when you look at Ephesians 3:9, that's clear. Before the world was. Ephesians 3:9. Look. And to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, that's a secret, which from the beginning of the world, beginning of the world, have been hid in the Most High, who created all things by MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, who is that right hand of the Most High. That planet, he said he made all things by MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. And Ezra saying it right here, is he getting the understanding of the word, the Bible back to us, man. 2 Ezra 3 and 6. And thou led of him into paradise. This Adam, which that right hand had planted, MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way. Commandment to love the commandments of the Most High, to love the laws of the Most High, which he transgressed. And immediately thou appointed death in him and in his generations. That's why we died. He said, don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And he ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He said, the day that you eat of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you're going to die. That's why we died. And unto him thou gave a commandment to love thy way. Keep the commandments of the Most High, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointed death in him and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. See, and every people walked after their own will, what they want to do, like it is now, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. Like today, they saying we ain't under his commandments. What's the difference between then and now? They saying you ain't got to follow the Most High. You ain't got to do what keep his commandments. You're under grace. You're getting something that you don't deserve to get. Make that make sense. He loved the sinner, but he hates the sin. Crazy stuff, man. So he goes on to talk about the things that happened, you know, that the Most High done. Look at 2 Ezra 7 and 13. For the interests of the elder world were wide and sure. Wide and sure. Because everybody obeyed. The interests of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. You know, because we were supposed to live forever. He made us immortal. That's why I say brought forth immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter through literally straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. You got to go through it. That's why I said in Ecclesiastes 2 and 4, whatsoever the Most High give you, take cheerfully. Straight up. You got to go through it. Now, therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is come, rather than that which is present? Then answered I and said, O Most High, this Uriel talking to Ezra, the angel Uriel, that beareth rule, thou hast ordained in thy law, in the Most High's law, that your is the Most High's law, that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the unrighteous should perish. You hear that? The righteous going to inherit these things, but the unrighteous going to perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things. This ain't no easy task. And hope for why? But they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the why. And he said unto me, there is no judge above the Most High, and none that have understanding above the highest. But there be many, let's get this close to y'all, but there be many that perish in this life. Why? Because they despise the law of the Most High that is set before them. Read to you again. But there be many that perish in this life that we live in right now, because they despise the law of the Most High that is set before them. So when you have people that so fervent and believing that you don't have to do what the Most High say we're supposed to do, that's his law. That's what they're saying. We ain't got to follow the Most High. That's why I say, but there be many that perish in this life because they despise the law of the Most High that is set before them. For the Most High has given straight commandment to such as came. Those that came in the past, those that's going to come now, and those that come in the future. What they should do to live. Straight commandment. What you should do to live, even as they came. And what they should observe to avoid punishment. A lot of y'all think you ain't no punishment. You can say you do whatever you want to do, ain't no punishment. He's telling you you got to keep his laws to avoid punishment. He's saying, oh yeah, y'all look at these wars, but what you gonna do to avoid punishment from the Most High? That's what it said. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him. See, broke his laws. They wouldn't do what he said for us to do, but spake against him and imagined vain things. That's why I tell you in Ecclesiasticus 3:24. Ecclesiasticus 3:24. They imagine vain things, right? Ecclesiasticus 3:24. But many are deceived by their own vain opinion, worthless thoughts, and an evil suspicion. They allow the devil to come in their mind. Evil suspicion, that's the devil, have overthrown their judgment. See? That's why I said in Proverbs 30 and Proverbs 30. So we gotta come out of being robots and robot please, being spiritual puppets, y'all. Y'all gotta stop letting these people hypnotize you. Whoever, it don't matter. A lot of people have been duped, man. I mean, they'll be the first one to tell you don't know what you're talking about. And having the Bible, they'll just put it under their arm and start talking. For real, for real. Y'all know it's real. It's something, boy. I mean, their brains are polluted. Y'all gotta stop saying brainwashed because their brains are polluted. I mean, it is what it is. They're in spiritual gross darkness, spiritual gross ignorance. Come on, because they have followed the way of this world. The way of this world is set up to send you straight to damnation with them. For real, for real. Proverbs 3 and 5. All praises to the Most High. Oh, Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust ye in the Most High. Trust is like having faith in the Most High, saying, with all thine heart, with all your mind, the way you think, the thoughts, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Hear that? Lean not unto your own understanding. You got to trust in the Most High. That's why he said in verse 1, my son, forget not my law. See, people have forgot the laws of the Most High. Matter of fact, people ain't try to learn the laws of the Most High. But let thine heart keep my commandments. Hear that? Let your mind, and the heart is the mind. You know, I hope y'all know that. But some might not know because some of you might be just coming in, you know, looking at what we're dealing with here and dealing with the truth. Mark 7:21. That's why I say you got to know from the old to the new, from the new to the old. You got to go all throughout the Bible to get these definitions, man. What's the heart? Here it is right here, the definition of the heart. Mark 7:21. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed what? Evil thoughts. You see? You see, the heart is talking about the way you think. Now, talking about your heart just beats blood into all your body, right? That's it. That's why he said, go back to Proverbs 3 and 1. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart, your mind, the way your thoughts, keep my commandments for length of days and long life and peace. So they add unto thee. You see? That's why he said in verse 5, trust ye in the Most High, while YAHAWASHI, with all thine heart, with all your mind, all your thoughts, and lean not unto thine own understanding. So I say many are deceived by their own vain opinion, evil suspicion, overthrown their judgment. That's why we got to look at this, because today, look at 2 Ezra 7, and verse 23, and deceive themselves by their wicked deeds, and said it of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. See? Just like it is now. Most people saying that the Most High is not. They saying the Mashiach Yahawashi is the Most High. That's a lie. That's what people say the Most High is not. Just like we did then. Like, perfect example right here. Second Ezra 7:23, and deceive themselves by their wicked deeds. Meaning they wasn't following the commandments of the Most High, the laws of the Most High, and said of the Most High that he is not. So they say Mashiach Yahawashi is the Most High, and knew not his ways. They ain't know his laws, his commandments. But his law have they despised. You see? His law have they despised and denied his covenants. In his statutes have they not been faithful and have not performed his works. In keeping the works is keeping of the Most High's commandments, his laws. That's why, jump up to verse 42. He answered me and said, this is the angel Uriel, always been an angel that dealt with us, then, now, and forever. And he answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory does abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. You hear that? So the day of doom has to happen, which is coming, which is the end of this world that we in now. Like it tells you in 2 Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So he's telling you that, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time that we're living in now and the beginning of the immortality for to come, meaning being able to live forever and ever and ever. Wherein corruption is past. Intemperance is at an end. Infidelity is cut off. Righteousness is grown. That's why it's so important to understand keeping of the Most High's commandments, his laws is going to grow. And truth is sprung up. Truth is sprung up. From where? Only from us, the Israelites. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed. You know? Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that has gotten the victory. No more oppression. The oppressor going to cease from him that got the victory. That's a victory over being in this world and going into immortality, to live forever. This is beautiful, man. Look at jump up to verse 56. Say, for while we live, like we living now, y'all, and committed iniquity, people sinning, while we live and committed iniquity, we consider not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. See, some people don't believe that there's a punishment after death. But you living and you committing iniquity, you breaking the Most High's commandments, his laws. Say, most people don't consider that after death, they're going to be punished, man. They're going to have to suffer. Second Ezra 9. Second Ezra 9 and 5. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, you're born and you die, and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. When we look at these effects and signs will come in these end times. But what's prophesied to happen in these last days. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby he have believed. What's the works? How do you define the works? One scripture is Exodus 18 and 20. I told you I'm going to come on. So I'm going to be doing is you're going to be getting all these different questions of definitions. You go to works right here. Exodus 18 and 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. That's keeping the Most High's laws, commandments. Can't get by it. I mean, you can try to do all you want to. That's the works right there, keeping the commandments of the Most High. So now going back to 2 Corinthians 7 and 7. And everyone that shall be saved, and shall be able to escape by his works, by keeping the commandments of the Most High, keeping the laws of the Most High, and by faith. That faith in the Most High, that faith in the MASHAYACH, whereby he have believed. That's why I look. Revelations 14 and 12. So important, man. It's all here. It's the same thing being said. Revelation 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. We define the saints, right? Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. You see? Revelations 12:17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman. So the serpent, the devil, the Satan, the beast, Esau, the Edomites, they all read, could be wroth with the woman, representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Jeremiah 6 and 2. That woman defined as, I've likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman, symbolically. So they're going to be wroth with the 12 tribes of Israel. Now they're all of us. And went to make war with her, with a remnant of her seed. You see? The remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the faith testimony of a MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, that faith in the MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI. You see that? That's what he's coming up to. Why? Because they already have the 2/3 of the majority of our people. They're not going to keep the commandments of the Most High. They're not. Remember, they taught we're not under the law, but we're in the grace. They think they can do what they want to do. You know, the Most High love the sinner, but he hates the sin. Crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, unbelievable. That's what they believe. And that's a lie. Straight lie. They've been lied to. They love, I guess they love to have it so, because Ecclesiastes, I can't bring it out enough. Ecclesiastes 12 and 6. What does it say? For the Most High hated sinners. You know, he hates you to break his commandments, his laws, and will repay vengeance unto the unrighteous, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. Come on. I better stop following these unlearned theologians that went to cemetery school, went in there dead and came out deader, according to what this Bible is talking about. You better recognize, man, it's for real. So where you gonna be at? That's why he said 2 Corinthians 9 and 8. Well, let's read, well, we read 7. It said, by your escape by your works, keeping the laws of the Most High, and by faith in the MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, whereby ye have believed. Verse 8, shall be preserved from the said perils, said dangers that we looking at, Jacob's trouble, said dangers, and shall see my salvation in my land. That's power and authority in the Most High's land of Israel, and within my borders. For I have sanctified, cleaned them up for me from the beginning. He know. It's been preordained, predestined. Then shall they be pitiful, then shall they be in pitiful case, which have now abused my ways. You know? All you that have broken the laws of the Most High, saying we ain't under the law, we're under grace, you're going to be in pitiful case that have abused the Most High. His ways is his laws, his commandments. And they shall have, and they that have cast him away despitefully shall dwell in torments. He's going to torment your butt, because you just spitefully say, no, I heard it all my life, you know. We ain't under no law. We're under grace. It says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast him away despitefully shall dwell in torments. What about your war against the Most High? Oh, y'all think about, I'm talking about the war that's happening now. I'm talking about your war against the Most High. Ready for this? He said, then shall they be in pitiful case, which have now abused my ways, and they that have cast him away despitefully, that admires the Most High, shall dwell in torments. Making me something different. For such as in their life have received benefits. A lot of y'all living all right, receive a lot of benefits, and have not known me. You don't know the Most High. I ask all the time. I'm in Hollywood, I'm telling how rich these people are. Receive benefits, but they don't know the Most High. And they that have loathed my law, abused the Most High's law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, like we say all the time, repent. Understood not, but despised it. Got an attitude with us, saying you got to keep the Most High's commandments. The same must know it after death by pain. I didn't write it. Most High said you're going to know it after death by pain, though. Look at verse 18. And now, when I prepared the world, you know, the Most High created all things by MASHAYACH. When he prepared the world, which was not yet made, even for them to dwell in that now live, no man spake against me. You know? No man spake against him, meaning we were all righteous. This is what we're going to. It's like from where we came from is where we got to go back to. Because we was there, we'd have been there and stayed there. But Adam and Eve, they ate of the tree of the knowledge of evil, good and evils. Therefore, here come evil in the world. That's why we die. So no man spake against him. For then everyone obeyed. You hear that? For then everyone obeyed. That's why we read in Isaiah in the kingdom, going back here, 60 and 21, we shall be all righteous. See, for then everybody obeyed. They were all righteous. We were all righteous on this earth. Take then everybody obeyed. But now the manners of them which are created in this world that is made are corrupted by a perpetual seed, and by a law which is unsearchable rid themselves, man. And that's the law of saying that we ain't got to follow the Most High's law, but we got to follow everything that's contrary to him. Be caught up in this be influenced by this world, man, that's set up to send you straight to damnation. Straight up. What you gonna do when he come for you? What's your method? You got a better method than what it is that could be told us what we have to do and coming back to him, doing what he say do? What method do you have? Since you say we ain't got to follow him, we're not under his laws, what method do you have that's better than what it is that I see? You know, I know Revelation 22 and 14 says this when he got about what? 7 more verses for the whole Bible to be closed up, done away with. It's over, right? For some of you, Revelation 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments. You ain't got to deal with this war. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. That's what y'all want, hopefully. But you got to do the commandments. You got to know the commandments to do the commandments. You can't be walking around here no puppets, man, spiritual puppets and robots and robot tees, man, following the way the world is set up to send you straight to damnation. Here, the world set up to send you straight here in verse 15. But without, The world stood up to send you to be without the kingdom are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. That's you. If you ain't come back to the Most High's commandments, he said, blessed are they that do his commandments. And there's only 7 verses left in the Bible. And he letting you know how important this is. And you that don't want to, he said you're gonna know it by pain, torment and pain after you die. Revelation 21:8. Revelation 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving, you don't have faith in the Most High, YAHAWASHI, and the abominable, those that break the laws of the Most High, and murderers, you that don't love your brother, and you that really unjustifiably murder somebody, kill somebody, and whoremongers, you just jumping around from bed to bed, don't even know, probably walking around with all kind of laid up diseases and so forth, passing it on to somebody, whatever, just whoremongers and sorcerers, the witches, you know, in the pharmaceutical industry, got everybody out of their mind. And idolaters, those that don't believe in the Most High power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, and all liars. You that lie, straight up. And some of you lies from the womb. They tell you in Psalms 58:3 that we can go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Come on. Shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. How you gonna avoid that? You better come back to the Most High. That's the only way you're gonna make it. That's the only way. Other than that, you can forget it. And he don't want you anyway. He don't want everybody. You understand how many people he coming back with? Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? Luke 12:42. And MASHAYACH said, I don't like to use that word L-O-R-D because I told you over and over again, it means B-A-A-L. And the one that published this Bible, that's their God. And I showed you who even Epstein's niece said, if you go back and look at this video or this lesson, you'll see that she's saying that they worship B-A-A-L. They put B-A-A-L in this Bible as L-O-R-D. And that's who y'all calling on. So I'm not saying that. And MASHAYACH said, because y'all use L-O-R-D more than y'all say the Most High, more than y'all, a lot of y'all, more than you say Yahweh, more than you say the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Y'all use that more than anything. You say you ain't under no enchantment, and you steady saying it. And you see, look it up any Bible dictionary, you see it. It's right there. And you still saying it. And the MASHAYACH said, who then is that faithful and wise servant, steward, whom his power shall make ruler over his household to give them their portion of meat in due season. Blessed is that servant, whom his power, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Dealing what you're supposed to be doing, follow the Most High's rules and regulations, man. You know about that. Of a truth, I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. You hear that? He's going to make you ruler over all that he hath. But, and if this condition, that servant say in his mind and his heart, which is the way you think, your thoughts, my power delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and the maid servants, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken. And the MASHAYACH, the power of that servant, will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, because he's not in the spirit to know the prophecies and to see the things that's going on, and the Most High not working with him through the angels, and will cut him in asunder. You hear that? Get some love out of this. He said he's going to cut him up in sunder and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. And that servant, which knew his powers will and prepare not himself, you ain't gonna prepare yourself for this war. First and foremost, what you have with the Most High, this war you got with a Mashiach Yahawashi, you could be concerned about this war on this earth. You better be concerned about the war that you have with the Most High, the war you have with the Mashiach Yahawashi. He said, he's gonna cut you in sunder. And that servant, verse 47, which knew his powers will and prepared not himself. You ain't preparing yourself, so you gotta be ready. So you gotta get ready. Prepared not himself, neither did according to his will. What he told us to do, you ain't concerned about what you're supposed to do if you don't know what to do, shall be beaten with many stripes. Hear that? We that have been called and to learning this truth, and you ain't preparing yourself for what it is that you can learn as much as you can while you have the ability to learn. And that servant was knew his Most High on Mashiach's will and prepared not himself. He called you in. This is the highest calling you can be called into. He called you into this to learn as much as you can. Desire to know more and more and more and more. And especially learning of the Most High. That most people are not even concerned about. He said, and that servant was knew his powers will, knew the Most High, the Mashiach's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will. Learning what the Most High said you're supposed to be learning these last days about him and his commandments, shall be beaten with many stripes. Hear that? Will be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not, he that he didn't call, and did commit things worthy of stripes, shall be beaten with few stripes. Ain't that something? That's how important it is. But any of you that's here and you've been coming or you've been learning the truth, but somebody else have called you in to hear something that, you know, he wants you to know if it's the truth. It's so important. That's how important you are. That's why I say he's gonna beat you with many stripes. Many stripes. But those that he have not called us, a lot of you think, oh, they'll put them down. But he said they don't get fewer stripes than you because he ain't called them. But he that knew not, he ain't know what you know. They ain't know what I know. And did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, if he thought enough for you and me and all of us to call us to learn what this Bible is really talking about, learn about the Most High, Mashiach Yahawashi, and who we are as the 12 tribes of Israel and everybody else, the past, the present, the future, what it holds. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, he given a lot. Of him shall be much required. And to whom men shall commit much, of him they will ask the more. Hear that? That's real, y'all. Much is given, much required, man. That's why you got to look at this, because it's going to come a time when that requirement going to come upon you. And they're going to ask the more. That's why you got to be ready. You got to be prepared. You say, listen what MASHAYACH said, I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I, if it be already kindled? That's why people be like, thinking that in this war, they're going to destroy everything. Nah. MASHAYACH said, I come to send fire on this earth. He's saying, what if it already be kindled? They already done burned everything up. I ain't got a chance to do what I'm going to do. Do what I'm going to do. That's why I said, Matthew 10:34, he said, think not, don't even think that I have come to send peace on earth. Say, I come not to send peace, but a sword. And what's that sword going to do? Revelation 19:15, trust me, trust and believe this. What it say? Revelation 19:15, hold up. It said, and out of his mouth go up a sharp sword, that with it he should smite, kill the nations. That's why I say, what you see, I'm coming, and the fire when killer say, out of his mouth will come a sharp sword, he should smite me, kill the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. That's the law, y'all. The same law that you say you're not under, he gonna rule them with a rod of iron, and he treaded the wine press and the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Most High. Power Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what's coming out of his mouth. And 2 Ezra 13, 37, and 38. And this my son in the Old Testament, MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations. They fighting right now. They got all these inventions that he allowed them to invent, but he gonna rebuke all that. Like he said, out of his mouth gonna come a sharp sword. He gonna smite the nations, right? And this my son, this is MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. That's the fire that he's bringing. And so lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, abusing his ways, which are like unto a flame. That's fire, y'all. And he shall destroy them without labor. How? By the law. The same law that preachers are saying you're not under, he's going to destroy you by the law, which is like unto fire, which is the word of the Most High, man. Y'all better understand. Shoot, I don't know what y'all think. MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI said, shoot. He said in Luke 19:27, he said, but those my enemies that would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. That's going to happen. Straight up. But, you know, you have all people that are just them right here, Matthew 27. And let's start at verse 22, because Pilate was going to release them. Pilate said unto them, Matthew 27:22. What shall I do then with MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, which is called, with YAHAWASHI, which is called Mashiach? It's very important. He was called the Messiah. He was called the Anointed. There's only one. That's him. They all say unto him, let him be crucified. Wicked Israelites. They said, let him be crucified. And the governor said, why? What evil have he done? But they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. Then Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a turmoil, the uproar they was riding, about to ride it, was made. He took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, this don't mean nothing. I am innocent of the blood of this just man, this just person. See ye to it, right? He washed his hands, say he's innocent of the blood of this just person. Now he had a power to say, I'm not killing him at all. Didn't he? Yes. Listen. Then answered all the people and said, his blood be on us and on our children. That's why when we read Revelation 1:7 earlier, you can read it again for those that's on the late show. It says, behold, he cometh with clouds. That's the chariots, with the angels of the Most High. The eye of foes, identified flying objects. And every eye shall see him. So what about nobody ever telling you he's over there? Nobody know but the Most High. No man gonna tell you anything. That's what he told us. Only the Most High know. The angels don't know. Only the Most High know. Say, behold, he coming with clouds, and every eye shall see him. So don't worry about nobody telling you, because he said every eye gonna see him. And they also which pierced him. These wicked Israelites that gave him over to a Pilate and said, let crucify him, let his blood be on us and on our children, them too. They also was pierced him, and the Romans that killed him. And all you that believe in this, you killing them too. Only 5 people in the Borgia family right there. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so. And they put that entity right there. That evil entity right there, AMEN, which is ZEUS last name. Going all the way back to AMENRA. Egyptians. God or deity. Come on. So you see, It's just a remnant. It's not everyone that's going to be saved, y'all. It's just a remnant, and that's it. Um, look at Revelations 11, and no, let's read 18. He said, "Hey, what are you gonna do? This? He coming? The fire's already kindled. Nah." Look, Revelations 18, um, concerning America, and according to this word of the Most High, what's gonna happen? Revelation 18 and 8. This is what it says. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day: death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. That's why I say, hey, think not that it come send peace on earth, come not to send peace, but a sword, you know. And he say, what if he come and the fire's already kindled? You see that? Let you know that. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. What's gonna come? Death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. That's a purifying element. For strong is the Most High, while MASHAYACH, who judges her. You see how long it's gonna take. Verse 10. The merchant's gonna be standing afar off, seeing the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, which represents America, that mighty city, for in 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. Telling you, man, 1 hour. Verse 16, alas, verse you're going to be saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour, so great riches has come to naught. 1 hour, go take a MASHAYACH aside to have all the riches come to nothing. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and all as many as traded by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? What city is like unto America? For they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, talking about America, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour, over and over again, y'all, is she made desolate. 1 hour. That's what it's saying, man. Real for real. It said, and they cast, rejoice over her, thou heaven and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. Rejoice over her. This destruction that's going to happen. Thou heaven and ye holy apostles and the prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. Because they were asking this, man. He asked this question, man. In Revelation 6 and 9, and when he had opened the fifth seal of prophecy, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain by the word of the Most High and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long, O Most High, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Revelation 18:20, rejoice over her, thou heaven and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. Payback. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. Period. Thus say the Most High. So y'all better enjoy it while you can, because that's prophecy of the end. That's why you nations are supposed to be coming and learning what we're teaching. In Israel, if you care about your salvation, you're supposed to be better be learning too, because time is at hand. How much time? Who knows? You got to get ready with the Most High, I know that. Daniel 7:18. But the saints of the Most High, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom. How long? Forever. Even forever and ever. Daniel 2:44. Daniel 2 and 2nd chapter, verse 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. He ain't leaving his kingdom to other people, other nations, in other words. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. That's why he told us in Jeremiah 51:20, he said, hey, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. But with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Just like it's saying. I mean, no matter where you want to go, gonna say the same thing. Daniel 7:18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Yeah. Daniel 2:44 again. And in the days of these kings, shall the Most High power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Daniel 7:27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, who are the 12 tribes of Israel. When you read Psalms 148 and 14, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. We got next forever and ever and ever. And all dominions shall serve and obey him. Everybody gonna serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. So I hope that this was edifying. We're gonna go more deep into this war that we have amongst ourselves and with ourselves and on this earth, more on the Sabbath day. And give a like and share and hit the bell so you know when we come on, you can join us in our classes. And I'll say, Krum Most High, Krum MASHAYACH YAHAWASHI, and Krum Yasharala, and Tawada for joining me, and I'm out. Shalom.